Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door was created by Nintendo and Intelligent Systems as a sequel to the N64 classic Paper Mario. Hello and welcome to the Cut Content Of, a show where we try to find content that you aren't able to see in some amazing games. This time we're looking at the second Paper Mario game, which released in 2004 and is often controversially considered to be the last good game in the series. Only a month prior to the game's Japanese release, a demo for the game was built. This was for a GameCube Christmas multi-game interactive demo disc. These discs were used in game stores to let customers try out games before purchasing. This disc in particular, number 18, contained lots of demos including Pikmin 2, Mario Pinball and Paper Mario 2. Even though it wasn't far away from the final release, this build does have a good few differences. The name of the game was changed between this build and the final game. There is a lot of text, mainly tattles that were changed slightly before the final release. The song that plays on the title screen is in the files for the final game, but unused. In fact, it's been playing in the background since the start of this video. The game banner doesn't show the characters like it does for the final game. The W emblem was purple in this build, hinting that it would have been used for Waluigi's clothes. There are some very minute details changed in the background for Hooktail Castle. The strange sack was larger and had a slightly more red handle in this prototype. There's no star on the champ's belt, and looks more like a normal wrestler's belt. When completing a battle in this demo, the text for the amount of star points won is in all caps and doesn't say "you got." There are two unused songs in this demo. One of them is for a cut event that would have happened in PETALBURG. The other is an early version of the SS FLAVION theme. Three and a half months later, the game saw its final US release. The final game actually has much older sprites for a version of Mario, which looks a lot more papery. There's also a version of the Koopa Troopa which has this style. Accompanied with it is a shell with random pixels instead of the transparent background. Some animated wings are also present. Admiral Bobbery was originally meant to be a soldier, as suggested by this unused sprite. There's a version of Vivian with a fire on the very tip of her hat. Early icons for the battle menu exist in the files, with a style similar to that of the early Mario sprites. There's another early version of the Fire Flower for the shop signs. In the files exists a cut animated version of the star for the message boxes. There are two early versions of the Switch icon, with one using the L button instead of the final Y. The can that gets thrown was flipped and uses different colours in the final game. Also, the stone was originally a brick. That's enough unused graphics for now. Here's a cut piece of music, possibly for Riverside Station, which only has ambient noise in the final game. Luigi has an unused partner with two different designs. One is a hamburger and the other is an ice cream cone. The file containing these sprites was last modified in April of 2004, but the other partners were last modified in May. Speaking of Luigi's partners, one is called Screamy and has two unused enemies similar to it. In the files, these are known as Moa. Moa Moa is the Japanese name for the Smorg. The actual Smorg is referred to in the code as new_Moa. This suggests that Screamy is an early version of the Smorg enemy. There's an unused green Cheep Cheep. It's probably an early version of the Blimp Conductor. All 8 partners from the original Paper Mario are on the disc, but only Paracari and Bo appear in-game. There are 7 unused enemies, including the Hyper Bob-omb, the Ultra Bob-omb, the Red Buzzy Beetle, the Red Parabuzzy, the Red Spiked Parabuzzy, the Dark Atomic Boo, and the Okuru. In Japanese, Okuru means to get angry, suggesting that the meter on its head would change over time. There is an early eye texture for Bonetail, left unused in the final game. Bosses usually can't be poisoned, but Duplis has a poisoned animation anyway, even though it is unused. There's also an animation for an 8-bit version of Peach. A teaser screen is actually in the files intended for demo versions of the game, but never actually appeared in any demos. In the background, an early version of the title screen can be seen. There's a few items unused in the final game. Some blue paper, the magical map doesn't show up in the inventory but was originally going to, a Mario poster held by the Shadow Sirens, some red paper, a Star Stone, which is actually a placeholder for the Crystal Stars, the Ultra Stone, a piece of poisoned cake, some regular cake, a Koopa Curse item, and a trade-off item which would make enemies rank up. This ranking up does absolutely nothing. Thank you for watching this episode of the cut content of. You can support the show by pledging some money at patreon.com/TCCO, subscribing, sharing, turning on notifications, or just watching some of our other videos. If you'd like to, you can leave a suggestion for a future episode in the comments section below. But that's it for this episode. Bye!